My bed isn't made, but that's because my cat's sleeping here. I don't know if you can see her. Here she is, yawning. I get this question rather often on my DMs. What is your job? What do you do for a living? People never really tell me why they're asking this, but I think I know. Because I had the same exact questions and doubts when I was a teen. Will I be able to get a job looking like this? Will I always have to compromise between the way I want to look or being a successful professional? I kind of made a ton of bullet points so we could talk about it. Hello, my name is Joana. Welcome to my channel. I'm 31 and I have a full-time job that is not social media, otherwise I would be starving at this point. And I am a sales and operations manager for an e-commerce startup. That sounds like a mouthful. And I look like this. I do feel like I am successful in my professional life, and that brings a lot of people's questions, and they're curious about it because they don't connect my appearance to a person that is in a corporate position or in an office job. But it hasn't been always like this. I've had several jobs and job interviews, and the way I present myself can definitely matter. So let's just start by saying that your clothes and your job do not define you. When you're looking for a job, especially when you don't have a lot of experience, you want to consider toning down your style. When I was first looking for a job, I dyed my hair all black and I had very colorful hair before. I borrowed clothes, I did my makeup differently. When you're looking for anything, you need to adapt. I've mentioned this on a video before, but there's always that person that thinks, oh, if the company doesn't want to hire me because of the way I look, then that's not a company that I want to work for. That is a beautiful sentence in theory, but in practice, that's a very privileged way of thinking, and that used to be me. If you can afford to think that way and still keeping your style and flaunting your beautiful clothes, it's because you have someone to support you, and that's not the same for all of us. Also, depending on your age or situation, it's not really fair to expect that person that's supporting you to keep doing it forever. You really need to have some compassion for that person as well, being your parents or whoever, and at some point you need to start helping them by helping yourself. That being said, if you need to change your style to get a job, that doesn't make you less of anything. Your clothes are not your personality. Yes, it's great to be able to express yourself and a bit of your personality, but there is no shame to have to adapt to the working world or to the society we currently live in. You usually don't need to change your style completely. Of course, this will depend on the job and the position, but usually you just need to adapt your preferences to a little bit more of a conservative attire, and it can be incredibly temporary. It might be a job that later you found out that your boss and your coworkers are actually cool, so you can start dressing a little bit more like yourself again, or it may just be your first job or your second job. Then you will start building experience, and then you'll be able to apply to other positions or other companies. No one has ever started in the perfect position in the perfect company. We all started somewhere. Calm down, sir. We all started somewhere, usually in the bottom, and we grow from there. I know it can be tough at first if you have a job that really doesn't let you be yourself, but it might just be temporary. You just need to get some experience, and then later you'll find something better. Sometimes it isn't about your style, you just weren't the best. Harsh words, but sometimes we need to hear them. This is more about job interviews. People with alternative styles are very keen to self-sabotage. We're heading to that interview with that little devil on our shoulder telling us that the interviewer is going to be judgmental because of our style, the way we look is going to be condescending, is not going to take us seriously. And that's not always the truth. If the interviewer didn't directly comment on your style negatively, don't assume so. And what that's going to do is that every time you are refused on an interview, you're going to blame it on someone else, and you don't give room to yourself for self-improvement. Sometimes it's true, there was someone else that was better than us for the job, and sometimes we just need to improve on our communication skills when going to job interviews. Just make sure that you are truly comfortable on how you look and how you present yourself when going to that interview, because that truly shows, and you can feel when people are uncomfortable. Interviews are already pretty nerve-wracking, so you don't need any add-ons to that. It ain't about goth discrimination. Friends, sometimes I feel like the word discrimination is really heavy to be used in certain situations. At the end of the day, we can go home, strip our clothes off, take off our makeup, dye our hair a different color, take off our piercings, even cover our tattoos. We don't want to, we shouldn't have to, but we can. And it's not only goths or alternative people that get rejected to job interviews because of the way they look. It's just people that don't fit the mold or the beauty standard that that company in specific is looking for. The job or the aesthetic. You might have been one of those kids that had a clear idea of what they wanted to be when they grew up. I sure wasn't. Maybe you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or a chef. And some of these jobs have uniforms, and some of these jobs really make sense for you to change your style a little bit to be able to practice them. Let's take chef as an example. I am absolutely aware how easy it is for these facial piercings to fall down on someone's plate or salad and for me not to even notice it. So I can completely understand that you could not have facial piercings while working on a kitchen. It doesn't mean that you can't have piercings, but I can understand that you have to cover them or take them off while working. It just makes sense. It's a health hazard, and it's one of those situations that your style does kind of clash with your work. I'm sure there's plenty other examples, so we do kind of need to be logical about it. It might come down to the decision, what's more important to you, your aesthetic or your job? It's never a permanent decision. Of course, you can look differently from when you're at work and outside of work, or again, you can always change jobs. So who doesn't give a fuck about the way you look? There's plenty of job positions that really shouldn't matter how you look, because it doesn't interfere in any way with what you're doing, and there's plenty of companies that actually don't give a fuck as long as you get the job done. And we love those companies, and we thank you for being rational and fair and for practicing common sense. According to my experience, anything to do with online businesses, social network, tech, anything, peeps usually don't give a fuck. These companies are usually created and made for a younger generation, so that's probably why. Customer service is also usually okay when it's not face-to-face, like chat, answering emails, picking up the phone. That's usually also alright. Customer service can be tough as fuck, but it will give you a ton of experience and backbone, let me tell you. That's where I started, and I do not regret it. Search for remote work. Remote work is a little bit more common due to the current situation we live in, but remote work has been something that has existed for a while. When I started working for the company that I work now, I started working remotely, and I still kind of am, because the company is kind of spread all around the globe, so my bosses are in a different country, so we communicate through chat and phone calls and stuff like that. So I do kind of work remotely, even though I have a team with me here in Lisbon. But anyway, I digress. Remote work is super chill when it comes to the way you look, because people are not even looking at you. You are working by yourself or with a group of people, and usually your bosses are in a completely different country, so they really do not care how you look like. You might have phone calls or webcam calls, but it's so irrelevant. As long as you show that you're doing a good job, then that's what matters. There's a bunch of websites for remote work. You can search up Upwork, for example. This is more like for short-term jobs, but you can find any area that you can think of on that website, so it might be a good start. Of course, you always have the option to create your own business. If that works out, I bet that it's great. Of course, that I'm aware, these are all incredibly subjective depending on the country, the city, where you live in, and the opportunities that are available to you. So I'm also aware that I'm speaking on my high of privilege of being able to look like this if I wanted to and go to work and nobody would give a fuck. And I'm still well paid, have a good job, have a good work environment, etc., etc. But again, I've been through a lot of shit as well, so this is not something that I suddenly decided to start working and this has always been like this for me. If you live in a small area that you feel that is very judgmental about the way you look, remote work might be the option for you. But again, if you need to find a job because you need to pay your bills like everyone does, and that is dependent on you changing the way you look, don't feel bad about it. I mean, you're a fucking hero. You are adapting to our current society. It shouldn't have to be necessary, but you are doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't change who you are. Again, it's just clothes and you define your clothes, they don't define you. And also, even if I'm able to wear whatever I want, I don't actually go looking like this to my workplace. I wouldn't wear like the bunny ears, for example, just because I like to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable and practical in my workplace. I don't want to be obsessing about my look because it's work, you know. That's the way I look is not something that I want to focus on when I'm in the workplace, if that makes sense. But again, I am able to maintain my style, and I've never had anyone making any comments or being judgmental about it, so I know I'm very lucky about that. I hope this was helpful somehow. If you are looking for a job, best of luck to you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!